Good afternoon. Welcome to INV 105, Messaging and Collaboration Strategy. I'm Ed Brill. I'm the Director of Messaging and Collaboration. And we have an exciting session with a lot to cover. So I'm not going to waste any more time, and we'll just get started. So, oh, it's applause for getting started. Okay. If that's how we're going to work this session, that's fine. It's a big stage and a big room. So if you're going to applaud, if you're going to applaud loudly and wave hands too, because then I'll see you. That'll be better. I can see the blogger den very well, so that's fine. There's no lights over there, but the rest of these lights are kind of blinding. And it's weird to be up here by myself. So I actually have some friends coming along with me as we go along, and we'll go through this agenda. Messaging and Collaboration Marketplace, kind of where we're at today. Year in review from accomplishments and things that we did over 2010, some near-term plans for 2011, and then roadmap for what you heard this morning about Notes and Domino Next, and some of the other products in my portfolio. Okay. All right, so let's get started. So scorecard, Notes and Domino had, again, a very successful year in 2010. We retained our position in terms of market share overall, second place. I can't cite numbers, but our friends at IDC would be happy to tell you exact numbers. But it's been consistent. I actually went back and looked at a report of theirs from 5 years ago. Numbers about the same. So this is not a market around email that is in dramatic change right now. There are changes in delivery mechanism. There's changes in sort of the commoditization of the market. But this isn't in and of itself the dramatic growth we saw of the messaging wars in the 90s or whatever. So having a steady position in a rapidly evolving technology marketplace as we evolve towards social and the full collaborative value is a good thing. One of the highlights of the year last year for us was that IDC in September issued a report on the mobile business email marketplace and indicated that IBM was the fastest growing product in that category with Lotus Notes Traveler. So we were growing faster than Exchange ActiveSync, faster than our good friends at RIM. So very successful presence with Lotus Notes Traveler. We're going to continue that in 2011 and beyond. We also learned during 2010 and kind of current state of the market that the vast majority of you are running 8.x or 8.5.x versions of Notes and Domino in your environment, with upgrades on the server approaching somewhere around 75% of the marketplace, client upgrades a little bit less than that. But tracking studies, PMR counts, all of that seems to point to very successful and rapid penetration of the 8.5x stream. Lotus Live Notes, we've been off to a fast start. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that offering, which we introduced last year. Very strong resonance in the market. We talked about it a little bit this morning. When we talk about it in sales opportunities, we're seeing competitive consideration in about a third of all opportunities we're going after today. So this isn't just about whether you as an existing Notes and Domino customer are looking to move to the cloud. There's also the opportunity that companies on legacy systems have chosen to look at Lotus Live Notes as well. Symphony and Lotus Live Symphony, lots to talk about there. As we said this morning, over 50 million downloads now cumulatively on Symphony, on Lotus Symphony. Even the pirates love us. One of my guys on my team sent me a link to go look at some of the torrent sites and some of the other places on the web that I don't really spend a lot of time on. And they all have download counts, which I love, because then you see these hundreds of thousands of people just adding to their wares with Lotus Symphony. So I like that. I'm okay with that. It's a free product. And then the last piece of the messaging collab portfolio is Lotus Protector. Two flavors, mail security, mail encryption. We introduced mail encryption last year. Very fast start with that. Successful implementation of that. And then we also are doing very well. Lotus Protector for mail security continues to have a 99% efficiency rate as measured by ICSA Labs. So where are we winning? What are some of the successes from 2010? You heard some of these customers mentioned in the opening session. Some of them are press releases we did throughout the last year. I think it's important, and there was a message this morning. Some people were asking, well, what's with all the customers? We are winning in the market. We have a lot to show for. There's a room full of people here that are successful with this product. And so it's important to highlight for you the other customers that are successful in winning with Notes and Domino today. And they include Singapore Airlines, VCC Construction, a very small firm, so big and small. We've got El Gucci's Idea Jam going past 400,000 votes, at the America's Great Outdoors Idea Jam run by the Department of the Interior. POSCO in Korea, one of the largest companies in Korea, consolidated and migrated from competitive platforms over to Notes and Domino. Wilmar, also out of Southeast Asia. Eurocities, running consolidated governments in Europe. And then GM Commercial Holdings is using Lotus Live Notes. That'll be talked about a little bit more in Sean Pooley's session tomorrow. But a migration of one of their formerly independent companies they've acquired from Exchange over into Lotus Live Notes. Actually went to production with them quite early. So many more successes to come in 2011. 2010 was a great year for Notes and Domino. So looking at it from the product perspective, some of the things that we accomplished over the year in 2010. We released another of our incremental releases around Notes and Domino 8.5. Since we adopted the agile development methodology, we've been doing these smaller, faster, more incremental releases with 8.5.0, 8.5.1, 8.5.2, and then something coming this year to get features into market quickly, to evolve the product without doing major reconstruction or upgrade planning. And 8.5.2 is a very successful release in that regard. Some new features in the Notes client as well as in DWA. You'll learn about those in their associated breakouts. Lots of new things in Domino Designer, both from an X-Pages perspective as well as from a traditional developer editor tools and updates. A lot of quality improvements, a lot of PMR and SPR defect work. Better deployment and management tools. Again, we keep focusing on things like performance, updatability, the memory footprint of the Notes client. All of that's been addressed more and more as we've moved through the 8x code stream. And then 8.5.2 had a lot to offer in terms of Notes Traveler with the first implementation of Notes Traveler server on Linux, as well as full iOS support for calendar workflow and a new technology we call the mobile installer that makes it easier for the mobile devices to understand what version of Traveler that they should be running. Continuing in the Traveler theme, we also did other updates during the year on Traveler, including the Traveler Companion for iOS that we introduced here at Lotusphere last year, got updated throughout the year, now does both send and receive of encrypted mail on iOS devices. And then at the end of the year, we shipped our Android client as we had announced at Lotusphere last year. So that took a little bit longer than we had anticipated. There's a lot to do when you decide to build a client from scratch. I'm very happy that we decided to build the client from scratch because the Android distributions are turning out to be as fragmented as we sort of expected. We also are not seeing the enterprise features come in those devices by default. So by building our own client, we've been able to iterate now. Once it's in market, we're going to iterate very quickly. We talked about instant messaging for Android natively and for iOS this morning. So you see, continued investment in those native interfaces on the mobile devices. So again, very, very successful, fast iteration. The Traveler client for Android, when we finished it off, we did a survey of beta participants and 95% said, yep, ready to ship. So that's a very high success rate during the beta period and good adoption since. And then we saw some real success in the Notes Domino marketplace with our business partners in 2010. Some of the partners that ship plugins for the Lotus Notes client included partners like Tungle for enterprise calendaring or cross-calendaring, and GIST for discovery of information within your network. And in fact, what I want to do now is take a moment to take a look at the Tungle environment and get a chance to Tungle me with Tungle CEO Mark Gingras. You can clap. Hey, Mark, how are you?
I'm great, thank you.
All right, good. So, what do you think? We did it in April, right, in Toronto?
April, we launched in Toronto. It was an awesome show.
Yeah. So what's been the experience with the Notes plugin and the market since then?
So we launched in April of last year. Since then, our user base has grown to about 20%, 30% every single month. We have now users in 40% of the Fortune 500. We are in 800 universities all around the world, and it's been growing dramatically since then. And in September, we also integrated within Lotus Live.
That's right, right. So you've got both sides of the equation, delivery on premises, delivery in the cloud. What is the Lotus Live Notes integration, or Lotus Live integration, sorry?
So imagine you're in Lotus Live, you're collaborating with people, and you're seeing a contact there. And obviously, because you're collaborating, you're probably going to do the task that you love doing all the time, having a meeting. And you're actually going to want to schedule that meeting. So right when you're seeing the contact, you can click on the Tungle button, and what it does, it actually allows you to see that person's availability, whether they work in your company or not, which is really strong.
That's cool. So what are your plans for this year?
So interesting that you talked about it. Calendars, if you look at the calendar that you've all been using, or probably since you're early in your career, they haven't evolved a lot. It's always this 5-day grid, 7-day grid thing. You know, there's a lot of talk about Facebook, the social graph, and that's why there's a lot of value to Facebook. But when you look at your professional life, your calendar knows your social graph, your professional graph. Your calendar knows who you're meeting, how many times you're meeting with them, where you're spending your time. And that's sort of the stuff that Tungle's going to be working on, leveraging the information. So for example, you're going to wake up tomorrow and receive some messages from Tungle saying, by the way, you're meeting with Ed tomorrow, and this was the last meeting you had with him. By the way, his was his last tweet. Here's news on his company. Here's his LinkedIn profile. So you'll be a lot more intelligent as you get prepared for your day. And your calendar using Tungle will give you that information.
Well, you set me up with those alerts just a couple weeks ago, and I had a meeting the other day, and the alert came in, and it was the guy's LinkedIn profile, and it said we had 3 people in common in our network, and so I instantly knew something more about the meeting I was going into just from having been on the Tungle service. So that was great.
It's all about the calendar of the future.
Very cool. So you're here at the show. You're exhibiting downstairs?
At booth 712, come and see us, and also we'll give you one of these fancy T-shirts.
Well, that's worth the price of admission. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
All right. Some other things that we accomplished during 2010 were, in March, we delivered on what we had announced last year initially around using cloud delivery with Domino, and that was the developer and test images on the IBM cloud as well as on Amazon. This morning, you heard more announcements about that. I'll come to that in the 2011 and beyond section of the presentation. We also, in November, as mentioned this morning, RIM shipped a BlackBerry Enterprise Server Express for Domino, a no-charge version of the BES server with fewer features, but no charge, so we like that. And then at the end of the year, we announced that we were changing the licensing scheme for Domino Express so that Collaboration Express customers would have access to clustering capabilities as part of their license and not have to worry about trading up to the enterprise or CEO licenses. So a little bit of changes, little adjustments that we make in our go-to-market are always a good bonus to what we do. We also, as we started at Lotusphere last year, updated several times through the year the catalog.lotus.com site, the IBM Solutions catalog for Lotus. There's a lot of partners out there, a lot of solutions available for your Notes and Domino investment, as well as other Lotus portfolio products. So the catalog's been updated several times. It's started to have some social features, some rating, links to demos and downloads. There's a lot more to it. And clearly we want to do more to make you as customers and even your end users aware of some of the opportunities available to incorporate solutions into your Notes and Domino investment. So think of the catalog as a step in the direction that we want to continue to head down, where we're going to make it even more available to see what you can do with Notes. Another place that we've been really energizing the community around what you can do with Notes is through OpenNTF. A couple of years ago here at Lotusphere, we said OpenNTF was going to be a critical part of our go-to-market for code and access to technology and really being part of building up what was out there for Notes and Domino in terms of value add. Our developers have been adding code to OpenNTF on an almost daily basis. In fact, right around the time we shipped 8.5.2, we put a whole library of stuff out on OpenNTF that you might have even thought of as an 8.5.3 release. It's that kind of code quality and capability. By putting them on OpenNTF, instead of waiting for us to have a ship vehicle, we can get code to you faster that will make you more productive in your development or in the solutions that you deploy. So, very successful year for OpenNTF. Downloads increased on a 20% basis year to year. We now see it as an unreleased vehicle, a place to put code before we put it in the real product, before or if, depends on the code. And I mentioned the extension library as just one example of that. Now, there are some partners that have been making great use of both the extension library, the concept of OpenNTF, and XPages, so I think we should probably bring up the original NTF himself, Nathan Freeman.
Hi, Ed.
How you doing?
I didn't stoop to the suit.
No suit. I would have fallen over in my chair if this guy had walked out on stage in a suit. So Nathan, you guys have been using this library, you've been using code on OpenNTF. What have you been building?
Well, I think a lot of people around here have heard about our Evolution Transformer, which is our technology to take old Notes apps, ones that you've had in your business for a long time that run your business, and turn them into modern Xpages apps. To modernize them, add Web 2.0 features, to allow broad-based browser support, and it's been just an incredible piece of technology for us to put together, and we've made extensive use of the extension library and all of the extensibility toolkit of Xpages itself.
So what do you think that means? What does it mean that IBM is active in OpenNTF beyond what you and Bruce had in mind 10 years ago?
Well, wow, I wasn't expecting that.
I went a little soft.
I think it's incredible. I mean, the amount of code that IBM has made available to partners and to customers through OpenNTF just floors me. And the way that as a developer on the platform, we can now see so much more quickly and get so much more insight into how the product works and how we can follow those same patterns to build things on top of the platform. I mean, there's no way we could have done the work that we've done without having the extension library kit as open source, without being able to go in, rip it apart, find out how IBM does certain things so we can go, that's what we want to do.
Okay. So what's the result? What have you built? What should people see in your session coming up this afternoon?
Well, this afternoon, we're going to talk about the technology we have in place already, which is the Transformer, which lets you get those new applications in Xpages. But then we're also going to be previewing some of our projects for 2011, which includes a touch mobile render kit. It's a zero template adjustment mobile capability for touch devices, and it's all done with HTML5 and CSS3, and basically you drop a jar on the server and then you go home. And everybody who comes in with iPads and iPhones and Android devices just gets all of the original Notes apps, all the custom work, and it just works.
Cool. All right, so they can see you where is your session?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh.
You could tell I'm not in marketing, right?
Something 1-2?
Swan 1 and 2,
it must
yes.
be Scott out there.
Thank
He's
you.
in sales, close enough. All right, so it's coming up right after this, right?
3:45, yeah.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right. So what I like about what GBS has done with the Evolution Transformer is that they've taken the idea of Xpages and application modernization really to the next level. I mean, this is a message you all have asked us for years, is how do I take those Notes apps and get them to current technology so they're easier to maintain, easier to update, easier to build on, easier to integrate? And the answer has been Xpages, and you just needed a journey to get there. So they've done the engineering work, and as I can understand it from looking at what Nathan and team have done, fairly sophisticated engineering work to help you do that in a very automated way. I'm excited to see they already have one successful customer we've talked to. Lots more will be coming. I think that that's really the nature of how partners can be successful around Xpages and around where Notes and Domino are at today. All right, so I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about what we did in Lotus Live Notes last year. We announced this basically at Lotusphere last year, although we'd been working on it for a bit before that. This is really where you see us being incredibly responsive to the market, very agile in our development methodology. We went from announcement at Lotusphere last year to basically 3 releases that we did through 2010, and we're on the cusp of our first in 2011. Lotus Live Notes is a true software as a service, cloud-based, pay-as-you-go, Domino mailbox architecture, specifically engineered to support hybrid deployments of both on-premises and cloud implementations. So you don't have to move everybody all at once. You don't have to do a big wholesale migration. You can operate some of your app servers on-premises. You can operate mailbox users on-premises. And it just looks like your existing Domino architecture. It's just an extension of that environment. So very sophisticated engineering on our back end. From a user's perspective, completely integrated on a dashboard. So whether you're using one or all of the Lotus Live services, everything is no more than 1 or 2 clicks away from wherever you are within the Lotus Live environment. It comes with 25 gig mailboxes. We have a service level target of 99.9. We have mobile services available, including an announcement that I think we made this morning around adding Android and BlackBerry services being available for Lotus Live Notes. It includes anti-spam and antivirus. It includes instant messaging from same time, and it includes the right to use the Notes client. So for $5 a user a month, we're competitive price-wise in the market, but we're more than competitive on features, functions, and capability. Plus, you have all the benefits of Lotus Live overall. So on the right, you see we went through a very rapid calendar. We went to beta in April. We went to a limited availability with our first customer, GMCH, in June. We went to general availability in August, and we did our second release in October, and we're doing another release here in the next 4 to 6 weeks. So the nice thing about the cloud is you can iterate very rapidly. We can implement new features and capabilities on the back end, sort of at will almost. I'm not downplaying the engineering work that's involved, but we can work very, very quick on this. And you'll see in the roadmap for 2011 that we have many plans that we will execute on during this year. But it's not just about Lotus Live Notes. The whole package of Lotus Live offers at $10 a user a month US the complete collaboration including Lotus Live Engage as well as Lotus Live Notes. So all of the services, file sharing, e-meetings, activities, profiles, all of those capabilities, plus the mail calendar contacts through the browser, through the client, all available at a very competitive price of $10 a user a month in the market. We also have integration really across the environment. You see here on the right that we're not just talking about navigating mail through either the client or the browser, but we have plugins for activities, a plugin for meetings. We have the ability to use all the features of the Notes client, Symphony, RSS feeds, and we're using SAML-based authentication so that you have single sign-on. You're not having to constantly go, okay, well, now I'm in my chat service, I have to sign in again. Now I'm in my meeting service, I have to sign in again. It's all authenticated through a single session. So the engineering work on Lotus Live Notes has been very sophisticated. On the front end, it's very seamless. If you haven't used Lotus Live Notes, haven't signed up for a trial account, you really owe it to yourself to check out what we've done with the Lotus Live Notes environment. Now, what I think one of the opportunities in 2011 is around Lotus Live Notes is that we'll start to see partners get involved, start to add more capabilities, and I'll talk about those in the next section of the presentation. So 2 more slides to round out 2010. Lotus Symphony, got branding confused for a second. Lotus Symphony 3 shipped in November of 2010. So good we skipped version 2. There was no version 2 because we actually wanted to align with OpenOffice. So we derived Symphony 3 from OpenOffice 3. We wanted to align the version numbers around that. A significant number of improvements, both in terms of features, in terms of interoperability, in terms of enhancement to the capabilities, in terms of programmability. And you can see, a nowhere near complete list here on the slide of all the things that are new within Lotus Symphony 3. We also focused on deployment and adoption with Symphony 3. We've actually already done a fix pack that's now available, and we've done plugin installers. So if you've already deployed the Notes client 8.5.1 or 8.5.2 and you want to just update the Symphony componentry, we're not asking you to wait for a new version of the Notes client to do that. A plugin installer is available so you can just update the Symphony component within that Notes client. So that's available on symphony.lotus.com. Our services team has introduced a multimedia library for Symphony, just like they have for Notes and Same Time and Quicker in Connections. You can check them out in the product showcase to find out more about that multimedia library. And then we've been doing through the services team as well, quick start engagements, things that will look at what kinds of documents do you have in your environment? How would they convert to Symphony? What do we need to do to get these macros over? What about this VBA code? The Quick Start team is very sophisticated, and they've been very successful. I think we had our first customer win mentioned in today's press release in terms of a wholesale adoption of Symphony outside of IBM. We've had lots of different customers that have deployed, this customer, that customer, but this was a major endorsement in the press release today, and Symphony 3 is on a roll. Okay? And then the last bit for 2010, and actually this one's got some roadmap as well, is in the Lotus Protector family. We shipped Lotus Protector for Mail Security 2.5.1 at the end of the year, added a couple of new features. We shipped Lotus Protector for Mail Encryption during 2010, and actually did an update to that as well. Protector for Mail Encryption, actually both of these products, there's a separate session Sean Brown on my team is giving. If you haven't looked at them, you should. They're very simple buying decisions. What do you use today? Is this going to be better? For encryption, you may not have a solution that takes encryption outside your firewall. This does it in 3 ways. You can either use an S-MIME kind of an approach, a bring the user back to your server approach, or a relay kind of approach. So it's very, very seamless. Over time, we'll continue to integrate it even more within the Notes and Domino environment. And it's just a simple sort of boundary mechanism that will take care of your antivirus, anti-spam, or encryption needs. And then we have a roadmap for this year as well, expecting to update in Q2 on Lotus Protector for mail security, and expecting to update in Q3 for Lotus Protector for mail encryption. We've seen very good success with these products. We are looking at reduced numbers of antivirus, anti-spam servers, a lot less overhead, so be sure to check those out. Okay, so let's talk about this year. I'm going to jump down here because now that I'm up here alone, I can't read the slides from back there as well. So I don't want to stand behind the podium, but they're not big enough on the monitors here. So, all right. So Notes and Domino 8.5x. So we're going to do at least one maintenance release this year, probably only one, but we'll see, kind of where we go. And I use the word maintenance kind of loosely, right? Like the other 8.5x releases, there will be a few new features in there, and you'll learn about some of them, especially in the Notes client and the designer side, in the sessions that Jason Dumont and Jim Marsden are doing, or maybe you were at that earlier today. Pete Jansen's app dev session. So there's some incremental stuff in there, but for the most part, in the 8.5x stream, we're kind of done doing major work. What you saw this morning around Notes Next, that's kind of where the attention lies in terms of efforts going forward. We are in Traveler going to add some new support as well in the 8.5x stream. Symbian, the latest versions of Symbian will be supported, what they used to call Symbian 3 or Symbian Hat 3. I never quite got the lingo right on that. But so the latest versions of Nokia will be supported in that next release of Traveler as well. So we'll keep updating the support in the Traveler environment. We'll continue to do fix packs as well for the full 8.5x stream at regular intervals. So you can keep on the version you're on. You don't have to feel compelled to go to 8.5.3, 8.5.4, or keep up with us in a stream. We also obviously have some plans as we continue to work on 8.5x this year around marketing and awareness focus. I can't tell you everything here today, but we're going to continue to do some of the workshops and things that we did last year around X Pages. We had a very successful multi-city as well as virtual set of workshops around X Pages all over the world. We're going to do something like that again this year. We're also trying to, as I mentioned earlier around the catalog, get more visibility for ISV solutions that run on Notes and Domino. So one of the things that we don't do well is when we come back to you for your renewal on your Notes and Domino SNS, we don't tell you enough about what else you could be doing with those products. So we're trying to build a sort of solutions advantage view into what's going on with Notes and Domino, so at that time of renewal, you'll learn more about what's going on with the product. Got one applause for that. That's good. Okay. I don't have this on the slide. I'll go rogue for a second. We also are working on an ad campaign. It'll probably be in the US only, but specifically around the productivity value of Lotus Notes. It's very exciting. We've been working on it with the ad agency the last few weeks, and you'll see more about it probably in 6 to 8 weeks. We're just this close. Couldn't get it done in time for Lotusphere, but I'm very excited about that. So more to come there too. And then my last message in terms of 8.5x is don't forget that the end of service for 7.0x is coming up in April. So at that point, applause for the end of service of 7.0x. I remember it well. It just seems like not that long ago. So that's coming up. So we'll have pretty much the 8x stream in market at that point. Who was that that applauded over there? Okay, let's move on. All right, so I have a third guest coming up to the stage now, and I want to take a look at one of the partners who's got a really cool solution for Notes 8x down in the showcase. We've been looking at this for a few months. Please welcome from Few Clicks from Synaptras, Eddie Hasika. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing? Good to see you.
All right, let me start your video. Or do you want to start before I start the video?
Yes, before we start. So first of all, Ed, thanks so much.
Sure.
I mean, there's so much great things that are happening in the Notes
down.
environment. But we just announced today in 10 languages our newest member of the Few Clicks family, which is Few Clicks Unity.
Okay.
So we took all the search capabilities and prioritization that customers have been asking us for, and we put it right inside the Notes mailbox.
Okay.
So now what we have the ability to do is, even without turning on Notes full text index, which some enterprises don't do for various reasons, we give you full search, attachments, prioritization, all right inside the mailbox. So I thought we'd give a bit of a demo to show people what we're doing. I'm Jack Burns. I work for Pinnacle Electronics, so let's give it a shot here. So what you see on the screen that he's switching to is Few Clicks with Unity. You'll see it up at the top. Nicely sits over the email view, very easy on the real estate. The other thing to note is you can find any email in literally seconds. Okay? You can use the search all box, which you'll see on the screen at the top, and find anything you want throughout. But you can also be very specific. So here's some examples. Let's say I'm looking for an email that has an invoice contract inside, and I think that inside of the body of the note, the word support's there, and I think invoice is in the heading of the attachment. I just put them in the field, I hit enter, and I'm done. That's it. That's how fast the search works. And in this real live video that you're seeing, there's 1,500 emails in the inbox alone. You can do 20,000, even 100,000 email, local or server-based copy. Okay, next I want to find a note from, let's say, the Deutsche Notes users group. But I can't remember who at DNUG sent it to me. So usually I wouldn't even try to find an email when I don't know who sent it to me, but with a few clicks, it's a snap. Let's see, the email domain was dnug.de, for those of you familiar. So I can drop down sender, you'll see here on the video, and it gives you all the unique senders that sent me email in the view I'm looking at. But if I click on domains, I can pick by domain. Very hot feature. You simply scroll down, we find dnug.de in there, you click OK, and there you go. Instant results. Again, this is a video of a live running demo. Now, I could have typed in dnug or dnug.de in the sender box to get the same thing. Okay, let's say I'm looking for another email from a colleague named Maya. It's about a 500K attachment inside, but I'm not sure if it was sent to her or sent by someone else. I just don't remember. So I changed sender to who so that I can get to or CC when I put in her name. And then you'll see I can go over and select size. You can actually pick it by attachment size. Very easy to do, and instantly there's my results. All the email I'm looking for. It doesn't get any simpler than this, folks. Now, search is only half the battle. The other area is prioritize. So what you can see is that 10 to 20 emails a day, you can very quickly get buried. The numbers add up so fast that we decided to make Few Clicks the only product in the marketplace that lets you filter out the clutter. No scrolling through your email, no paging down. You can literally filter just what you want. Here's some examples of everyday situations. Let's say I want to focus attention on email that's only sent to me. I got it in the last week and I haven't acted on it yet. As you can see in the video, all you have to do is go over to where the numbers are next to email sent in the last X days. You go over and you click on 7. It gives you everything in the last week. Now I click on only 2, and then I click on the icon in the bottom right of that cluster that says email that I haven't replied to or forwarded, and you're done. Literally a few clicks, you click the filters, you've got your answers. No other capability other than Lotus Notes with few clicks can let it work that quickly. Okay, one more everyday need and then we'll wrap up. If you have unread email you got in the last month and it was marked urgent, how would you find it? It's very simple. With few clicks, you just go over to where it says 30, you click on that, you click on unread mail, you click on urgent, and there are your results. Now, how easy can it be? For the final prioritized test of Unity, I'm working on a project with a team. Tom, James, and Josh have sent me documents. They have attachments in them. I have to find them. You know what? It could be over the last 3 months. It could be in 4 different folders. Sounds really hard, right? All I have to do, though, is use few clicks. I'm going to go over and click on all documents because they could be in any of 4 folders. Then I'm going to enter in Tom, James, and Josh, separated by commas so that I can do more than one name. Now, I could be in the to field or the CC field, so I'm going to change it from all to all from to or CC. I enter my name. Now I click on 90, I get the last 3 months, and finally I just click on the document attachment icon, and I'm done. Very easy and very simple. So there you have it, Ed. You find what you look for in seconds. You can give every employee in a company 10, 15, even 30 minutes back. The ROI is typically in 45 days or less, and frankly, you can't do this with Exchange. You can't do it with Gmail. You can only do it in Lotus Notes. So I hope you and the rest of the audience here will come by booth 521 and take a look. Thank you all very much.
I really like that. I like the opportunity to show you all some things that can be done in Notes that, frankly, when they come to me, I'm surprised they can be done in Notes, right? I mean, this, when these guys started, it was a separate application, and you had to do all this kind of stuff. And we were like, yeah, okay. But now it's like, it's right there. It's right in the search experience. It's right exactly how a user wants to work. So I find that incredibly powerful and very effective. And yeah, you should definitely go check them out. All right. So, Lotus Live Notes, roadmap for 2011. I mentioned this a couple of times. I left my reading glasses backstage, so let me see here. These monitor screens are a little a little compressed, and I don't want to keep looking back at this screen. All right, so things that we're going to plan to, right, got to say this right, we're considering doing for 2011 in Lotus Live Notes. I already mentioned in our near-term update this quarter, we will add a service called Hosted RIM BlackBerry Enterprise Server with optionally available support for MDS. So that's actually a competitive differentiator for us in the cloud space. If you're looking at Google Apps, if you're looking at BPOS, you can't do MDS only in BPOS dedicated. So we engineered this in a way that it has that MDS support available as an option. We're going to be enhancing our story around disaster recovery. Obviously, we have a very highly engineered, available environment, multi-site, multi-cluster. You name it, we've done it. But we need to do more in terms of making sure that you as a customer understand what we've done there. Support for Traveler running with the Android client. That'll come in that same update as the BlackBerry service becoming available. More controls for mail administrators to apply to the Lotus Live Notes environment. For example, restricting the size of a message, inbound or outbound. It seems obvious. It's something you can do by policy. You can do it, in the premises product. We're just, adding it to the mix in the cloud product as well. User experience enhancements, especially in Lotus Live Notes Web, the web version of Lotus Live Notes. Things that will bring it more into line with the rest of the Lotus Live experience. We want to give you an ability to pull your contacts in from into Lotus Live Notes Web directly, so from the browser experience, and do that in any supported language. Again, in the near-term update, we'll add support for purchasing the service as a multi-year part, so that you don't have to come back to us every year and say, okay, I'm ready to re-up. You can do it a 2 or 3 year kind of an environment. Notes Web will add support for instant messaging. That's not in the product today. We'll be adding that then in an update this year. Over-the-wire data transfer. So if you sign up for Lotus Live Notes today and you say, I want to take my Notes mailbox with me to the cloud, today we don't have a method to take that right into the data center, so we'll be doing that. We've been doing sort of other approaches for now, but we'll make that a much more automated approach. We'll be updating the Traveler availability. Traveler doesn't have the same high availability architecture in Lotus Live Notes that it does or that the rest of the service does, so we'll be adding that. And then we're going to be adding content filtering capabilities based on the Lotus Protector technology. This is by no means a complete list of things that we think we'll do in Lotus Live Notes this year. I put it up as a list of things that we're pretty sure we're going to do this year, and indicative of the kinds of things that we want to continue to do as we iterate this service, with updates kind of this quarter, and then at least 1, probably 2 other updates through the remainder of the year. One of the other things we've done in the Lotus Live Notes space is we've started to work with partners around adding tools that add value to Lotus Live Notes. And one of those partners, actually the first around Lotus Live Notes, is GSX. Please welcome Eileen Fitzgerald. Hi, how are you? Yeah. I could even give you the remote because you have your slides, or I can click them.
No. You click for me, please.
I'll click. Oh, I have value add for this part. Okay.
Thank you very much.
But you're going to have to get up there close
You're right.
too.
I'm wearing glasses.
So tell us about what GSX does and why it's relevant in Lotus Live.
Definitely. We in GSX have been operating in the collaboration environment for many years now in terms of availability monitoring of your servers in your collaboration portfolio. We recognize that customers have the option to use multiple disparate components in their collaboration portfolio. So you have Same Time, Domino, Quicker, Traveler, RIM. So all of these disparate, we monitor using one tool. And because we sit on a client, we're able to use client simulation.
Okay.
So not only can we monitor the availability of your servers, but we also achieve service level monitoring.
Okay.
So we were very excited with the Lotus Live announcement because it obviously feeds into exactly what we do in terms of service monitoring. So we're very, very happy to be able to say that working with the IBM team to verify this, you can actually now slot in Lotus Live into GSX Monitor just as a component, along with the other components in your dedicated or hybrid solution for your collaboration environment. And it fits in, you can look at your environment with some key statistics which are focused on service. So, for example, you have KPI monitoring up to SLA in terms of availability, mail routing, replication, response times on critical databases, which is great with the new application as well. And it's consistent monitoring and an inbuilt reporting unit across your entire collaboration portfolio. So.
All right. Well, that's very cool. So I'm excited GSX is the first partner we brought into the Lotus Live Notes piece, complementing other partners that have been in Lotus Live, like Tungle, right? So we've had a bunch up here today. And if people want to find you, you're at what booth downstairs?
We're downstairs at booth 203, and we also have a corporate suite here in the Dolphin 6109. So we would be delighted to go over this in more detail with you, and thank you very much for the opportunity to present it to you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you so much, Ed. Good luck.
So I'm not done with the clouds yet. Actually, we got a lot going on in the clouds. This morning we had a very exciting announcement. My team's been working pretty hard on this for the last few months around Domino applications in the cloud. Number one comment, question, concern we get when we go talk to Notes and Domino customers, boy, from the number of cameras that just popped up, this must be a pretty good topic. I'm like, just all of a sudden I feel like I'm in Hollywood. A lot of customers ask us, well, what do I do with my applications? I don't want to run the app servers on premise anymore either, on premises anymore either. Sorry, I tripped myself up. So what can I do there? So building on the work that we had done with the developer and test images last year, we're announcing today the new Domino utility server for Lotus Live. So there's kind of two pieces to this announcement. One is that you can run a production Domino server on the IBM cloud, or later this year on the Amazon cloud, and have either a bring your own license model or a pay-as-you-go license in increments as small as hourly rates to run production environments on somebody else's environment, on a cloud environment, on the IBM cloud or on the Amazon cloud. So that's part one. Part two of the announcement is a new license, the Domino utility server for Lotus Live. For those customers who are moving to Lotus Live, what many of you have said to us as part of that opportunity or that discussion is, I don't want to pay this client cal SNS anymore if I'm paying you a per user subscription for Lotus Live Notes. I want to do away with that. I want to get to more of a SaaS model, but I still have these applications. So we said, well, we have a model for that, and it's called utility server. The one blocker with the utility server is that many of you have those applications that you've written for the Notes client. So what we said is, well, you've got a Notes client license. It's part of Lotus Live Notes. So if we marry that with the Domino utility server model, boom, we're all set. You can continue to use the Notes client application. You can continue to run those apps on a server-only model. You don't have to pay the client access license to SNS anymore. You can keep up to date, and you can do that in either an on-premises server or up in the cloud. So that was today's announcement. I'm pretty excited about it. We'll have a trade-up part available, so you can go from your enterprise servers up to the new utility server for Lotus Live. Should make things a lot easier and cleaner when you're looking at both mail and applications in terms of your go forward. You can applaud for that one. We also today announced Lotus Live Symphony. See, is Nathan still here? Oh, Nathan left. I sent these slides out to the four colleagues that joined me up here today last week, and he's like, you blocked out the name of the Project Concord stuff. And it was just a transposition because I did black letters on a white background that it just showed up as black. So I was not intending to hide the name from you all last week because it was locked. So Lotus Live Symphony, as we announced and demonstrated this morning, taking productivity editors to the cloud, but really more than editors, right? If you walked away with any one message from the demonstration this morning, it shouldn't be just that, hey, now I can do, a set of spreadsheets and word processing in a cloud environment. It's actually that you can do co-editing, that you can do have presence awareness, that you can do live sectioning, that you can have contextual comments and discussions, that you can assign sections of a document out to other authors and have notifications around that, that you'll be able to do revision history, that you can do task and attention management. These are all things that are much more sophisticated, but more focused around the social elements of collaboration than what other vendors have provided thus far in terms of trying to do productivity editors in the cloud. So this is going to go live on Lotus Greenhouse sometime in the next couple of weeks. If you already have a Greenhouse ID or a Lotus Live Labs ID, either way, we actually have made it transparent. Up on my blog, you can see a YouTube video we posted over the weekend that'll show you what Lotus Live Symphony is all about. And if you're really interested in this, there is a very cool session coming up on the agenda from my team where they're actually going to do only a few slides and mostly demo and just spend about the bulk of the 60 minutes showing you what Lotus Live Symphony is all about. In terms of timeline on that, so again, the Tech Preview 2 will be this quarter, and then we are planning to release Lotus Live Symphony this year in the second half. So this is not some future set of technologies. We started by showing you prototypes last year at Lotusphere, demonstrating it this year, being ready to go to beta or tech preview, and going live to ship in the second half of the year. Okay. All right. Other roadmaps. Next, please. They changed the slide from black text to white text. It looked really cool. All right. It did look, oh, look at that. All right, let's see if I can do that and have it paint. Ah, okay, it's a build. When you don't practice in screen show mode, you get up on stage. Okay. So the social business framework, you saw it a couple of times if you were a partner yesterday. Charlie Hill did a great session talking about this. For developers, really important to understand kind of what our approach for the entire collaborative portfolio is going forward and where things fit. Now, in the old version, as we were working towards the conference in this slide, I had here's where Notes fits, here's where Lotus Live Notes fits, here's where Designer and X Pages fits. Didn't really fit in redrawing the slide. But understand that what we're doing, when you hear us say social, I've had two people stop me already today and say, all I hear is social, where do Notes and Domino fit? Notes and Domino are social products. They are. They were the first ones. My blog has been running on Notes for 7 years, 8 years. You know, you shouldn't hear social and think that's to the exclusion of what we're doing in Notes and Domino. Quite the contrary. For PIM, for workflow, for all the capabilities that you're building today, there's nothing that could be more social than some of the examples that you all are running in the market. So, you know, we don't have to draw that distinction, hear one word that's really exciting for, you know, marketing and market attention, and worry about where Notes and Domino fits. Another word you're hearing a lot today is mobile, right? So, you know, I talked about what we've done in Traveler so far. We've increased our investment around mobile significantly in 2011 to where it's really going to be a first-class element of our delivery. In 2010, I felt like we turned the corner from follower to leader in this space, and I intend to continue that this year. The challenge with mobile is platforms, right? You get whiplash from, you know, going to meeting, who's got the latest tablet, smartphone, handheld, new intelligent thing. Well, none of them are really, you know, compatible with each other. It's a do-over every time somebody's got some new thing to come to market. The protocols are different, the operating systems are different, the form factors are different, the input factors are different. So this is expensive engineering for us, but the Traveler team works hard so you don't have to. They are really, you know, incredibly talented at getting this stuff right and doing it in a device-appropriate way that either in some cases is going to be native, in some cases is going to be HTML5, in some cases it's going to be a hybrid of both. But we're going to continue to invest very aggressively in this space. And as you're going to see throughout the conference, including tomorrow's mobile strategy session, you know, this is a major element of what we're going to deliver across not just Notes and Domino, but the UC and social and portal and all of our products through 2011 and beyond. We're going to continue to look at how do we deliver things like make Domino X Pages more available, as you saw this morning, or make connections more mobile on the web. What can we do to design and optimize our products from the start of the development cycle so that they're optimized around that mobile experience first, that it's not something we come along and do later. And as you saw, again, in the discussions this morning, you know, when we do things like the social business toolkit, we're going to do them, again, with a web and mobile mindset right at the start, not just something we're going to come back to later. So there's a lot to watch in this space. You know, I'm very active in working with all of our partners, whether it's, you know, working with somebody like Nokia or RIM or somebody like Apple or the Android community. And there's one I'm going to leave out because I really don't see them as a partner. You know, we're going to continue to iterate in this space. And, you know, if the investments need to change, we're not going to wait a year. We're not going to wait 2 years. We're going to look at this market constantly and understand what the right ways to deliver the right technology. Okay, other roadmaps for this year. This one's a little ugly on the screen. I apologize for that. But for both Symphony and Lotus Live Symphony, you know, we wanted to convey the message that these are a family. They're developed by the same organization within our labs. And we're going to build both. We're going to continue to build the on-premises product, or the desktop product, I guess I should call it in the context of Symphony. And we're going to build the cloud version. In Lotus Live Symphony, we're also looking at how we take those web editors and make them an on-premises product, not just delivered through Lotus Live. So there's a lot of different vectors we're going to go down here. We have some customers that we're actually going to partner with early on to understand exactly what the capabilities need to be for Lotus Live Symphony in both the cloud deployment and in a potential on-premises operated yourself environment. And then Symphony 3 will get updated as well through this year and beyond as we take in new improvements from the Open Office code base, contribute things back, and learn from our own deployment as well as from you as customers what needs to be enhanced in that environment. So we're going to do both. There's a session on Symphony. There was a jump start yesterday. There's a session on the agenda as well. So for desktop Symphony as well as Lotus Live, there are places to check this stuff out and learn more. And then there's Notes and Domino. So, so there was a lot of debate over the last few weeks whether we were going to put a number on there. But we had next. It looked actually kind of nice by the time we were done with how we had to do it for the lawyers and the finance people. But we have started work on the next release of Notes and Domino. We've actually passed 2 internal milestones already. One we call a concept and one we call a plan. The plan's already, sort of at a high level is booked. We know what we want to build in Notes and Domino next. And these are the conceptual objectives. You'll notice that they map up to things that we talked about with IBM Project Vulkan a year ago. So people have asked me a few times today, well, where does Vulkan fit in what you talked about last year versus what you're showing us this year? The answer is we said it wasn't going to be a product. We said it was a blueprint. And that blueprint is being applied to all of our products, including to Notes and Domino. So the 3 tenets that are here, innovation, convergence, and continuity, we want to continue to deliver innovation in the end user experience. We want to focus on personal productivity in the context of the overall Notes experience. We've been kind of in some ways so focused on collaboration and social that we've lost a little bit of thinking, well, how can I make this individual user more productive that will therefore make them more of a contributor to the social business? In some ways, that's why I really like the few click solution that we just took a look at, because it's focused on how's that user going to be more productive? How are they going to get away from email whack-a-mole and get into a world where they're really being contributors and not just consumers of information in the environment? We're going to continue to look at how we can affect consumability of the Notes client especially. How do we get deployments out there much more rapidly of newer releases, make them much more performant, integrated in your environment? And then convergence is about the thought of extending that to how do I continue to deliver a great experience to Lotus iNotes users on the web and to the mobile users using Notes Traveler. So I want that experience to be consistent, converge across all of the device types and interfaces. And then, of course, continuity, the hallmark of the Notes Domino product line now for 21 years. We're going to continue to provide all the forward and backward compatibility we ever have, but we're going to do it in a way that lets you leverage that, whether it's in Lotus Live Notes or whether it's in on-premises environment, and do it in a way that allows you to do rapid deployment and consumption of the environment. So these are objectives. Beta, as Doug Cox said this morning, will be initially on Lotus Live Labs this year, and then the release is planned for delivery sometime in 2012. Some themes around the specific components. Around the future of Domino, what are we going to be doing in next releases of Domino? We're going to leverage the experience we've had in building Lotus Live Notes. It's been an incredible experience to go and take this technology that's been so successful for all of you and make it a cloud implementation, a SaaS implementation. So there's some things we've learned about user provisioning and management, some things we've learned about user authentication and security, and we want to apply those. We're also looking at things around automated server upgrades, faster fail and preventative restarts so that the health of the server is better and that it's up and running even more and faster than from a downtime to an uptime. And then the last piece is we want to integrate some more of the adjacent capabilities across all of the IBM server products as well as the Lotus Protector product family. So we said when we built Protector that we wanted to give you more of the control of the Protector integrated within the Domino administrator environment, and we'll be doing that in future release. Around the Notes client, you saw the demo this morning, so this is ground I don't need to tread too deeply on, but taking the Project Vulkan user experience, implementing it within the context of Notes so that you have access to the activity stream, the concepts of in-place editing and the share box. Again, an increased focus on consumability, making this just the easiest client release or web interface release that we deploy either way that you go in your environment. And then X pages, X pages, X pages, both from a client perspective and then, of course, from a developer perspective as well. There we go. I put this slide up in the design partner preview last week, and people got all kind of antsy on me why I had NoSQL. Oh, is Domino going to become a true NoSQL environment? That's not the point of why I have that in the big yellow box. The point of having it in the big yellow box is to say we were there first. Right? This whole buzz that's in the app dev community today around, oh, well, we don't want a structured database. 21 years, that's what we've been doing. That's what you've been doing in building these kinds of solutions on the Notes and Domino platform. And whether or not the term rapid application development is an exciting term in the market today, it's what we do. Time and time again, you all tell me about projects that you've implemented in your environments where you've done it faster than the team building on .NET or building on some other framework. Over and over again, I hear how you can prototype quickly and get a solution out to your customers within your organization or your customers if you're partners very, very quickly. So we want to continue to emphasize that. So don't lose sight of what you already can do and have in the environment just by looking at what we need to do in the future. So some future things, though. Actually, this said will be soon because I had to have the slides done early. But there's a new version of the Team Room template, got posted over the weekend on OpenNTF. Again, another great use of OpenNTF in getting code out to market effectively without having to wait for release cycles. In terms of Domino Next in the Domino application development story, you've heard some of these messages again in the opening session or some of the other app dev sessions around Domino Next being an open social container and having that as a great way to integrate across our products as well as with others in the market, be able to generate gadgets out of X pages and participate in the embedded experiences using tools like the Sharebox. Also in Domino X, we're looking at having more access to capabilities through REST services, including things like calendaring. So I'm hopeful we're going to get to that point where it's even easier to integrate ISV applications into the Notes Domino environment than it has been in the past. All right, so what's going to change when we ship the next release? This focus on making users more productive. That is a little different. We haven't done that in a while. We certainly did with version 8 focus on the user experience, but we've got to focus now on the productivity element. Another piece of the equation, we've got to focus on cloud as an integral delivery model. It's not just an adjunct. Cloud is part of the overall equation. And many of you are going to operate in hybrid environments. We expect that to be the norm. We've engineered for it. We're unique in that way, and we're going to continue to emphasize that. We're going to absorb that complexity. We're going to do that. The whole point of Lotus Live Notes is so that you don't have to operate these systems. We do them for you. Web and mobile as primary user experiences. So, in the past, we would start by building the really, really awesome Notes client, and then we would go do a really great job on Lotus iNotes, and then we would go do a really great job on Lotus Notes Traveler. We're doing them simultaneously. We're not going to do them sequentially. We have to deliver web and mobile as equal partners in the overall equation. And then last, we think that, especially as you see things like Lotus Live Symphony evolve, the productivity tool as a piece of the toolkit moves more to the background, and the collaboration around content, the content itself that has the value, moves more to the front and center. So what doesn't change in the next release? All your Notes apps continue to run. That's not going to change. There's opportunities to transition to X pages. We still think that's a really smart opportunity for you to pursue. Whether in an automated way or on your own, you definitely want to look at how those apps play in a modern world using tools that can be built with from any application developer in the mainstream today. Our core architecture, not going to change. We've built a great architecture. It continues to evolve. I don't think, and I said it on my blog when we shipped Lotus Live Notes, I don't think 25 years ago when they conceived of Notes that the team that built the product was really thinking someday it's going to be software as a service. You're going to be able to go to this cloud environment and it's just going to work. But it does. It's incredible engineering. The team is very talented at taking that core architecture forward. Our commitments to interoperability, flexibility, and TCO, those don't go away. Our strong partner ecosystem, many of you in the room or downstairs or here at the conference, that doesn't change. And then the linked value across the entire IBM Collaboration Solutions portfolio, that definitely doesn't change, and we've got more to do in that area as well. All right, so to wrap up, things I want you to walk out of this session thinking about. If you haven't already, upgrade to Notes Domino 8.5.2. Many of you have. It's a very, very solid release, very stable in your environment, has some great features that we've done incrementally over the last couple of years. If you haven't looked at them, consider money-saving and fast-acting benefits. It sounds like a drug commercial. Sorry, fast-acting. I probably shouldn't go further on that. Of Lotus Live, of Lotus Symphony and Lotus Protector. Was talking to a customer the other day and looking at just the amount of money they're saving by deploying in pockets Lotus Symphony. Not everywhere in their organization, that's okay, but just in pockets, not having to buy Office productivity tools. Great savings for them. Evaluate Lotus Live Notes plus Engage as a complete cloud collaboration solution. Learn X Pages if you haven't already, if you're a developer. Help us plan by visiting the Meet the Developer Labs and the Usability Labs. There's a whole bunch of surveys and consumability tests and UX tests that you can help us out with this week. And then last, we had 20 or 30 customers on this screen this morning, some of them on stage. I know some of you think, well, why do you put so many customers on the stage? Remember that sitting right up here in this block this morning was a whole group of CIOs, and sitting in this block over here was a whole group of industry analysts, and then in this block over here as well was a whole group of business beat reporters. Those people paid more attention to the customer panels than they did the demos or anything else. I understand that the Lotusphere opening session is tough to reach every single audience that sits in this room, but being a reference customer is a really powerful tool for us to work together, and if you haven't pursued that opportunity, I encourage you to do so. Maybe you'll be sitting at one of these little white marks next year. With that, thank you very much. Have a great conference, and we'll see you around.